Hi traders, and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Watch on Friday the 2nd of August. So what is supposed to be a pretty quiet week with non-farm payrolls has turned into a very, very volatile one with a lot of big moves on a lot of the major currencies that we talk about every week. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. All right, so we'll start out here with the Aussie USD. And you can see that we've basically continued a very, very big sell-off that has basically been running since the 12th of July. We've seen a decline from pretty previous strong levels. It did look like it broke through a certain level, and all it's done has basically fallen right through every single support that we've been able to identify. We've got a 20-50 moving average cross now. We saw a bit of mixed action this week. It wasn't really all free falling, but this last session had basically just a sell-off, and it's got plenty of friends, as you'll see very shortly. But as you can see with the last candle here, it hit the new support at around that sort of 65-cent mark. Look, we've targeted this one, and we have been targeting it for a while. It did hit it yesterday as well, but it did rebound quite aggressively. But as you can see, the momentum has pushed it all the way down, and we've found ourselves closing right at the 65-cent mark. This is a very, very strong level for the Aussie dollar, though. So you can see here, we've got a lot of price interaction, a lot of resistance there, quite a bit of support through this area here. So what we're probably looking for here is a bit of a consolidation at the very least. We would want to be seeing it consolidate around this level and maybe give us a series of higher highs and higher lows to potentially push up to that 65.80 as a scalping opportunity. But really, yeah, for the long opportunities, I wouldn't be holding my breath. I'd be waiting for at least a turnaround on a 4-hour of a series of higher highs and higher lows before I'd be getting excited about going along on the Aussie. Quite frankly, I think if the support doesn't hold from here, there's a very real possibility that we could find ourselves all the way back down at around that sort of low 64 mark, which is still a little bit of way, but the way it's moving at the moment, it wouldn't be a huge surprise. Look for consolidation around this level. We would want to be seeing a daily close below 64.80 before we start contemplating going shorter, but we're probably going to see a bit of consolidation. So look for series of higher highs and higher lows in the smaller time frame for scalping opportunities long, but keep your trading relatively short. We're still in the middle of earnings, so yeah, there's still going to be a lot of volatility, and it does affect the Aussie dollar because it obviously affects the US dollar index. So we'll jump straight into the US dollar CAD now. And look, we've seen a very, very big push up on this one as well. This has been a big, big long motion of strength. We got to that one, basically 138.50, which was our target, pulled back a little bit to around, it wasn't that much really, but to these previous highs here. So no real surprise that it found support again and off it went. This time it has broken through. If it was going to break through, we felt, like I said a few weeks ago, this was probably going to be the time because, this is the first time it's actually approached it, pulled back to a nice level and then pushed up really, really heavily. This has been a massive move up. So a good chance that it was going to break, and it has. It's not the trade that we always like, of course. We wanted to see come back to this support level. What will be support, we would assume, if it does come back to around that 138.50. So what we want to see now, price action coming back to about 138.50 and find a consolidation there. Then we look for a launch off there to go higher again. Don't like really being the first person to the ball, so let these ones go, and if it does come back to the 138.50, then we'll look for long opportunities. Look for some consolidation there, and it's been too strong to be looking for shorting opportunities in my mind. It really has to be, it's got to effectively turn around and be trading even past this level here at around that 137.80 for me to be even intrigued into looking for a short opportunity on the CAD. It's just been too strong. You'd be trading against an extraordinarily heavy trend. So best to look for long opportunities, but we want to see a bit of a pullback to that 138.50 and then we look for a bounce from there. That would be the ideal trade on the CAD. All right, so we've got the US dollar yen here now, and this has just been another bloodbath of a session, really. It's pulled back to, somewhere in the middle, which I guess we can see, here is effectively a doji candle, but at its low, it got all the way down to basically 148.50. So, it's a level that we set for it, quite a while ago. And to be honest, I wasn't really expecting it to be here so quickly. We knew that all these levels here were in danger. The 152 was a very, very strong level, and it just completely obliterated that level and continued to sell off. Didn't find any support here at 150 and really just kept going all the way down to that 148 without a yelp. It's a bit of a doji candle now. Look, I would probably think that because it did rebound off this level, that we might be able to test that 152. If I was looking for a trade on this one, I'd be looking for an opportunity to go long up to that 152, but only a scalp. I wouldn't be, again, we don't like trading against a very, very heavy aggressive trend, but this one's been in play for a long, long time now. This is like 14 cents worth of move. And it's got very strong support here at 148.50. So I would look for a series of lower highs and lower lows on a smaller time frame and maybe attempt to get it back to 152. But even then, though, I'd be looking for a potential turnaround. I don't think this is one that I'd be going along for any significant amount of time. I'd be wanting to only scalp in and out. But if we do see a series of lower highs and lower lows instead appear on the smaller time frames, I'd be looking at taking shorting opportunities back to the previous level at around that 148.50. So both either side of that doji candle are playable opportunities, but keep the trades relatively short is what I would be doing, because we're still very, very volatile here. And the moves can get extraordinarily exaggerated. While the rest, and it's got plenty of friends, the market's been very, very volatile. Over to the dollar index, we've seen a big rebound on this. Look, it did try to sell off from the trending moving average this week. It did push back down to below the 104, but there's been a big, big resurgence in today's trading, and we're all the way back up at basically at its high, it was at 104, nearly 45. So a really, really good turnaround for it. While it's trading above the 104, I'm comfortable the dollar strength will hold. It's a very, very important level for it, though. As long as it maintains its hold above 104 and 104.20, I'm comfortable. I'm not going to be convinced on the longer move until it gets past the trending moving average again. So it needs to get past probably that 104.60 to 70 with a daily close. But of course, the euro is the one we want to be taking advantage of here. So we'll jump into the euro now, and that is been basically selling off, obviously reflecting what the dollar index has done. This has broken a very key level. Okay, so this we're trading now here at 107.80 ish. It broke that 108. We know that's a very strong level. You can see right through there, plenty of parking spots. It was previous support. It was resistance everywhere. So, and it's also a round number. So, all those things generally compact the support level. It did test it there for 3 days. It was here all week, but today it finally broke through. So look, one of those ones where its next real target is probably around that sort of 107.50. Scalping opportunities on the euro in my mind as well. I wouldn't be looking for long-term positions in the middle of an earnings season, especially with so much volatility. We've got non-farm payroll tonight. Look, generally it's a quiet week before non-farm payroll, but we've seen some really, really rapid moves right throughout this last session, especially. So I would think it'd probably find some consolidation throughout today. And then when non-farm payrolls results come out, however they are interpreted will determine where the euro is going, I think. But there's opportunities on both sides, and I think both of them are equal. I haven't really got a bias as to which one I would prefer. We've already seen the good sell-off from the previous highs. That was a pretty easy trade. We all know that. Once it got cracking, it did a pretty good job for us. But my target was the 108. So anything it does from here would be a new trade concept, and I'd be looking for the momentum, the short-term momentum, to really help us with that direction. All right, and the S&P 500, look, big turnaround on this one. Yesterday was a big bullish day, but like I said in one of my streams, actually, we've got to be really careful about those, because it was back to a pullback area, and it was only a 50% fib pullback as well of that move, and that has been completely corrected. It's basically an engulfing candle of the previous move, and that is saying something, because that was a 2% candle. We haven't seen too many 2% candle ups in this entire trend that we've had in place for several months. So we had one yesterday, and we've effectively seen it reverse with another 2% candle. So that's telling us that the volatility is through the roof. Earnings are obviously impacting this. FOMC, meetings are obviously on the nose as well with what they're saying, and we've got non-farm payroll. So I think it's going to be an extraordinarily important non-farm payroll tonight. Pretty easy way to play this one. If we see strength and we're trading in the green on Monday, look for moves back up to that 55.50. Just use scalping opportunities to get there. But if the day closes below that 50 53, probably 80 area. If we get a daily close below 53.80, and that's where we're trading on Monday, I'd be looking to push down to around that 53.30 in the first instance, and then actually 52.50, which is the main target. I think this is a better target than that one, but there could be some support at that level, so just be mindful of that. So really, play the game either side of this candle. Whatever it's doing on Monday is the momentum I would chase in that particular direction. So really good trading. Hope everyone's had a great week. We've seen some really good levels hit. The levels that we set up last week have all been hit for most of the currencies. So hopefully you're able to take advantage of some of those. Have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.